Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of HERspace Unscripted. As you can tell, it looks a little different. We have gone to our first ever um, Zoom or whatever. This is Riverside, by the way, so hopefully it works the way chat said it would, because we are with someone from out of state. We are talking today to our fourth and final Pivot with Purpose winner, Miss Tabby. Welcome to HERspace, Miss Tabby.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and it's so much fun to be your first out of state guest.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, chat, like, what am I supposed to do? How do I do this? And I was like, she's in Arizona. I'm in New Mexico. Do I just drive there? Like, what am I going to do? And so, no, chat, like I said, chat GPT in the clutch because, it gave me some tools that hopefully it actually works the way that, chat says it will. And we'll be
Yeah.
able to have an amazing episode, state to state.
Yes.
So, as I mentioned in your introduction, congratulations on being the fourth and final winner of the Pivot with Purpose sponsorship.
Thank you so much. It just means so much that you kind of saw my story, you see my story, and that you kind of, not really kind of, you just support my mission of what I'm trying to do with it. So that means a lot.
Yes, no, that I have a very soft spot for who you are and the child. So let's say that a little bit. So your pivot is
Yes.
why did you apply for Pivot with Purpose and what are we doing?
So my pivot with purpose was kind of honestly, a chance that I took on me. I've had this idea in my head for years now, and I feel like I'm really at the space now to where I can just encompass and fully kind of throw myself into this. Because I am a parent of a amazing 15-year-old little girl that not little, sorry, 15-year-old teenager that has autism. This last summer, we actually had a huge life change. She's always been homeschooled. She wanted to go to high school. She's a sophomore, and she just kind of threw it at me that she wanted to go to school. So we were, of course, originally from Cruces. We tried to find some schools. Nothing was really a good fit for us. She found one that was a perfect fit, and it was out here in Phoenix. So we talked it over a lot, went through everything that it would mean, and we pivoted out here. And now I'm a mom to a kid in high school, and I'm alone a lot of the day. I've never been before. I've always had her kind of next to me and doing things together. And I kind of sat here the first few weeks and was like, who am I? Like, I don't know this. So this whole pivot is not only just our move, us learning this brand new life, but also pivoting to find out who I am, where I can be mom when I need to be mom and when I don't have to be, what that looks like. And kind of just reinventing myself and trying to find the bits and pieces of me that have changed over the years and just really get to know myself more. I feel like as parents, especially moms, as we're raising our kids, losing ourselves is like a huge byproduct of it that everyone goes through, but it does look a little different when you do have a kid that's on the spectrum, just because you don't know what the future holds. So
Yeah.
it's kind of my pivot, and the whole thing's going to be a vlog. I'm going to be filming and kind of showcasing all of it to hopefully inspire people and find a community, which is also a really hard thing to find when you have an autistic child, of other parents that maybe are looking like mine, and you're confused too.
So that's what I meant by something that's near and dear to my heart. As you know, I am all things kids. I'm all things kids, and one of the things that I've seen so much, it's kind of like I call it the bumper sticker at this point, right? Like is autism. Like, first of all,
Mhm.
it's not new. I don't know why
Yeah.
all of a sudden people are acting like this is this brand new thing that just popped up. And and it's also unfortunately being drug in a lot of ways to be such a
Mhm.
negative thing. And so when I read your application and it talked about you creating this community, and like it literally in all the ways was like bing bing bing, Miss Angela, like this is it, like, because it was like your amazing child that is doing you guys are also pivoting just in life in general, right? Like you moved to a
Mhm.
whole nother state for the first time. Your daughter's now going to high school, which for any parent is a transition and a hard time, but for
Yes.
you guys in particularly, because she's just never actually even been in school.
No, I mean, poor thing. She tried when she was in fourth grade, and she was there for a few months. And then COVID hit, so we went back to doing school
Oh,
at home. So she
of
tried
course
to jump
that would
out, and then
happen.
like the world was like, nope. So she's like, I'm going back.
Of course that would happen. Of course that would happen. So, okay, so and then like I said, you add, like, being a parent is, I mean, it's the most rewarding, but it is the most difficult job you will ever have. Um, and then you add your extra layer of, her having autism and all of that. So I love that you are talking about creating this blog to really start connecting and growing this community. But I love the added spin that you have on it to say, but I also want it to be particularly for the women that are raising these babies,
Yes.
because it is already hard enough for a mom, that's navigating parenting, to figure out who and what the heck, uh, I am. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But you have even like the added layer of, everything. So what made you decide that it was time for you? Because I mean, Lainey's had autism, obviously. She's
Mhm.
15. Like, what made you decide now is the time that you wanted to share your story and find you?
Um, honestly, it's kind of weird. Like I said, one is the free time because I have no idea what to do with my days now that I work from home too. So I'm just home by myself all the time. So um, one, I had the time. So I was just trying to find productive ways to kind of fill my days. Um, it would also kind of, I mean, as a mom, again, you always hear, and anyone in general, you always hear that you need to fill your cup first. Well, as a mom, I kind of feel like you can't. Like it's really hard to do that. And then again, as an autism parent, sometimes people are like, you need to fill your cup. And I'm like, I don't even think I have a damn cup. Like, I think somebody walked off with that too. Like, I don't know what's going on.
When I was
So,
busy doing this, like somebody stole my cup, bro.
exactly. Like, I was getting somebody juice and now my cup's gone. So, like, I don't have anything. So it just kind of felt like that. And I just kept like thinking about it. And then, of course, in the move and everything, I found boxes of journals and things that I kept like when she was diagnosed, and just kind of all the emotions that I was going through. And just like a lot of it that I kept like feeling again, and just reading that, like, I noticed was a common theme was I had a community, but nobody understood. Like, I had my parents, I had friends, but nobody could be there like at 3 o'clock in the morning when she won't stop screaming. And I can't do anything because I don't know what's going on. And it's something as simple as like the tag on her pajamas that was just into a huge meltdown. And again, I'm exhausted. I have to be up for work in a few hours, and we got to just go on with the day like nothing's happened. And you don't really have that kind of community to lean on. Or the ones, like, people always look at me funny because she's not a sleeper. She's just not. It's one of the things that comes with autism. There'll be 4 days at a time where we will be up. And like I will catch little cat naps in between, but she's like running on all cylinders of 4 days in a row. And whenever people are like, oh, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, we are, but
Or that, or like, yeah, I don't think nobody said that to her. Like, yeah, well,
yeah, like, can
and
you inform
like,
her?
yeah, can somebody tell her that? Because here we are, guys. Like, here we are. No, but I think, I think that that part, like I said, is very unique because everyone is gonna experience because even a mom versus a dad, right? Like
Hmm.
everyone is going to experience that differently.
Yeah.
And so finding, the people that are experiencing it like you are.
Yeah. And yeah, just that was the main thing I noticed was just, I guess I tried to bury it as much as I can and just not think about it, but it gets lonely. Like, there's still some times that, yeah, she goes to sleep and you'll be sitting there like, well, today was a really bad day. Like, did I screw up that bad, or was it just an off day for all of us, or like what happened? And you're kind of just playing everything back and you don't really have anybody to kind of like bounce off, like, okay, today this and this happened. Was there anything I could have done different, or was this just like a shit day? And if it was, I mean, fine. But if there's things that and especially when we were like, when we do her therapy and stuff, I feel like I get overcritical. And I'm like, did I do something that set this off? Like, what was the trigger? What can I fix? What can I change? Just because I am a fixer. So I'm constantly trying to make things as smooth as possible for her. But then kind of moving out here too, and it was a big discussion that we had when we were deciding, like, do if she did want to do this change, was I'm not there. I'm not allowed to be at the high school just following you around. Not only that, you're 15. You're not going to want that.
Yeah. No, nobody at 15 wants that.
So, but like, I can't jump in and fix things for you. Like, this is going to be on you. Like, you're going to have to learn to really advocate for yourself. And I mean, thank God she's done an amazing job of it. I like only had to send a few emails. The rest of it, she's like, oh, I did this and this and I took care of it. And I'm like, oh, nice, which is like a huge win. And like, she did it. But then at the same time, I was like,
But
not needed anymore.
it's also good job, mom.
Hmm.
It
Yeah. And that's the other
good
part where I'm
job.
like, I need to start. I mean, it was like kind of like you said, and that's kind of what made things really start to spin a little bit faster with everything, was that it was like okay to give myself credit for things. So like, this was a big pivot. It wasn't small. It wasn't little things. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can give me a little bit more credit with
Absolutely.
this. Like, I did good with her.
Yeah. Well, not only did you do good with her, but like you as a mom picked up your entire life and moved to another state, Tabby, so that your daughter could go to high school where she could hopefully thrive and hopefully, and she is, which is, we're all extreme, but the amount of courage and love that you showed her by doing that.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's what really hit when we did our first interview, and I was like, wow, this is really impressive.
It is. It is. And like I said, I think now more than ever, people need to hear from you. They need to hear from Leanie. They need to hear
Hmm.
because there's just this noise.
Yeah.
There's this noise around autism that's just very uneducated, very it's not even the reality that, moms and children with autism face. But, a
Hmm.
lot of it is just noise that's being made up for propaganda purposes. And I think
Yes.
it's so important that like nobody can tell a story of a mom with an autism child except like a mom with an autism child.
Hmm. Or how like all the things. The number one thing that I've always hated, and I hate that it comes from the medical professional, like the one that you're supposed to trust with all of this. But their one question that always like I wait for it. She can have anything, an earache, anything, but the second I bring up like she has autism, warn her before you do things, because if you just start poking and prodding, like it's not going to end well for anybody. And they're like, oh, was it a normal pregnancy? And I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah.
nothing was wrong. We didn't, like, nothing happened. It's just what came of it. Like, it's just, it's the same thing as you having brown hair or blue eyes. Like it wasn't a byproduct of anything. And it's not things that she was like the ones that say, oh, there's the vaccines or things like that. I can tell you from the day I brought her home, and it's so funny now because one of the ABA professionals that I spoke to, they're like, when did she pick up her head? And I told her I was like, 2 hours. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, we hadn't even gotten to our like situated room after I had her that she was already picking her head up on my chest. Like we were still doing skin to skin and she was picking her head up and looking around and they're like, that's sign number one. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like from the second she was born, that's was already a sign. So they're like, if it comes later, and I was like, I don't believe it comes later. I think it's just something that you're born with and that's okay.
Mhm. And I'm not a medical professional by any means, right? Like I don't claim to be, full disclaimer, everybody out there. I'm not saying I am, but I think that, it's, they always say like we only use a small amount of our brains.
Hmm.
I just think that autism is that these kiddos and eventually become adults, so there's adults with autism too. I don't just mean the kids or this,
Yeah.
I just mean they unlock a part of their brain that we
Yes.
don't use. I just
Hmm.
feel like that, and it can be overstimulating and it can be overwhelming and it can be all these things, but
Yeah.
they're also always so highly intelligent and they find their niche and they freaking I like they hone
Hmm.
in on it and it is beautiful and it is amazing. And I have children that are autistic that they can paint like something I've never seen. One of my
Hmm.
autistic kiddos is like a freaking IT genius. Like, and it's just like there's not they're not mm, I don't know. Like I think everybody has this misconception that there's something
Yeah.
wrong with them. I just think
No.
function in a different brain level than like they are on a
Hmm.
higher wavelength than me and I just can't get it because I'm not there. I only use the small normal
Exactly.
human side of my brain, okay?
Exactly. And actually, her first therapist that we spoke to, she was a wonderful girl. We were with her for, I think, a good 3, 4 years. Her name was Natalie. And she had told us, she's like, you have to realize, and she told Lainey, she was like, your brain is programmed with different colored wires. And she's like, but you live in the world that's on a blue, yellow, red. And she's like, you can be like freaking fuchsia and purple and lime green, but you are not going to feel like you fit because you are not red, blue, green. And she was like, it's the same wires, it's
I
just a
love
different color.
that.
She's like, you're thinking with more and you have more power than the rest of us. So, like, that's all we do. So, whenever she gets discouraged, I'm like, that different wires, like, that's it. That person has their full red, blue, green, and that's what they know. I was like, and unfortunately, we do live in a world that's all red, blue, green, and it's not always
Yes.
adapted for
So
those
we are not
people.
inclusive to that, right? Like we're not inclusive to that because our
Yes.
brains only function in red, white, and green or whatever you said, right? Like we only have those three ways of
Hmm.
processing shit. So when it doesn't seem to add through those three wires, it doesn't make sense and it's
Hmm.
weird or it's abnormal or it's not known. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, she even came in like hers is art and hers is her memory. There is no arguing with her. I always say she should be a lawyer because she will pull out facts like nobody's business, like timestamps and everything. And I'm like, forget you.
Never mind.
Yeah. But she got in the car just last week and she was like, she kind of had like this look. And I was like, what happened? And she was like, my science teacher figured out my superpower. And I was like, what did he do? She's like, I guess there was an argument in the class that if they already did a worksheet and he like slipped her the worksheet and he was like, did we do this? And she was like, how would I know? And he's like, you would know. And she was like, how do you know I would know? And he's like, you would know.
You
So
and
she's
I
like, no, we
both
haven't done
know
it
that
yet.
you would know.
And she was like, she just looks at him and she's like, the first half we already did, but the second half we changed. And he's like, thank you. And he just walks away.
Oh, that is so funny. That is so funny. And so I love that for her. I love to hear that she's found a space where she is just being able to utilize all her superpowers in all the most amazing ways.
She
But I know
is,
the
and
journey hasn't been easy either.
no, it has not. It's been a lot of ups and downs. at this point, I just feel like it's a giant roller coaster. Sometimes we're getting looped around and I have no end in sight. Other days it's really good. But yeah, it's been a lot of learning, a lot of learning and then unlearning and relearning. It is a completely different story. I mean, she was diagnosed when she was 8. When she was formally diagnosed, she was 8. Um, but it was one of those that I'm doing the test to find out, like the parent questionnaire, which is, God, it felt like it went on for hours. Um, but it's kind of hitting those things, and like I'm checking these boxes, and the whole time I was just crying. So I was like, I didn't know. Like I had no idea that all
But
of
you
these
don't
things
know what you don't
were that.
know.
Yeah. And that was the hard part because it was like I didn't know, and I just felt like so helpless because I didn't know. And now having that set up and then puberty and then like it's like all right, so everything that worked in the past, like throw it against the wall because that's not doing anything anymore. So we're mapping it out again together, and the way that we've kind of just discussed it is like, okay, when you hit adulthood, we're going to throw everything against the wall again and we're going to have to start
Yeah.
over. And
Yeah.
it's just going to be a lot of learning and unlearning. And I mean, all I feel like I can do, there's completely different aspects of being an autism parent. Some are really high on the spectrum and they can eventually go on to be more independent. Of course, there's some that'll never be independent, and there's some that are the happy medium. And you really never know how it's going to end up. Like even now, I don't know how it's going to end up. She has all these things that she wants to do. She wants to go to college. She wants to do a study abroad programs. But when we talk about it, she's like, I found us this apartment. And I'm like, I'm not going with you. So then it's trying to figure out like those lines of things. So like, do I go with you and just kind of follow you around, but is that a good life for you? And it's just kind of this battle that you have constantly, but you just never know how the future is gonna play out, and you're kind of having to play a waiting game to see. And the worry is like unsurmountable, but we kind of just have to take it day by day. So it's definitely been a roller coaster.
I can't imagine because it's like, I mean, that's normal parent fear. And then there's
Hmm.
that, like, that is like, I already, have that panic and that, like, my kids talking about college and, all of those things. And then I think too, like, you think about, like you said, like, and I'm gonna throw it out there because I just am who I am. So I'm gonna say it, but you also have to say, like, my kids are going to grow up and I'm going to be able to live a life. My life is
Yeah.
not going to be raising my kids anymore. I get to be a grandma, right? Where like you get to pop in, you get
Hmm.
to pop out, you get to do all that fun stuff. But like at some point, I do become a different parent. And like
Hmm.
you aren't quite sure what that looks like.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not
It's
sure
like
if you
I
ever
feel
are
like
going to transition to being a different parent.
yeah, and that's the hard part. Because I feel like as your kid kind of goes through graduation stages, you kind of go through them too.
Mhm.
And eventually it's just kind of like, well, I'll call them on the weekend or I'll see them when I do. Like I hope our relationship stays the same, but I know that they're off doing their thing. And it's like, do I do that? Do I insert myself? Do I give her the option? If she does these things and she decides to go to college somewhere else, what if something goes wrong and she needs me? Because as like each autistic kiddo has their safe place, and it's great because it's a place they can land, but it's also the one that gets the brunt of everything, which is the hard part as the person. But then it's like, what if she needs that safe place and she goes to New York and I'm in Arizona? Like, I can't just hop in a car, go down the street and be like, okay, mom's here, like, it's fine. And like now, there's even still some nights where I go to tuck her in and she just kind of clings on and is like, stay. And I'm like, okay, I'll sit here for a little while until you're comfortable and then like I'll go to
Yeah.
my room. Um, so it's kind of judging and seeing like, okay, how how does this next stage look like? Because yeah, I mean, all her friends and everything, there's the college fairs they're going to, and they're like, oh, well, I'm trying to get as far away from my parents as possible, and I'm like, what do we do? So
Well,
that's kind of the hard part.
and what about how heavy is that as a mom? Because as a woman, okay, it's not just as the mom, but as the woman, because I feel like, and obviously we do anything for our kids. So I'm not saying that your baby is a burden by any means.
No.
That's not what I'm implying. I just mean, like as a woman, it's like you might not, like, when does it finally get to be tabby time, or like when do you find, like, do
Yeah.
you feel that, like, at all? I mean, I like I
Yes.
said, I'm not trying to say that it's a burden by any
No,
means.
not at
I
all.
just mean you also are a person, a whole ass person. Like,
hmm
like,
Yeah, and that's been kind of, I mean, the main part of my pivot now, and the main kind of thing that I'm going to be showcasing with everything, because now I feel like I do have this time to really find me. Like, she's in a place where she's finding her, and I'm trying to figure out who I am. So I get to kind of invent myself and see who I am. And that way, if it never happens to where we don't hit that point where it's like, okay, you're on your own, you're independent, you're doing your thing, or to where maybe the distance as isn't as far as like a neurotypical family would be. And we've always had this joke that like if she's not comfortable moving, we'll get like the house next door. And then if she's comfortable, we'll get like the house across the street. And if she's comfortable, then like we'll go 2 streets down and like just kind of play it out that way. And that's kind of the way that I'm playing with it in my head now. Like she's okay right now with me being downstairs, her being upstairs. So it's like, okay, so well, she's upstairs. I can figure out what the heck to do down here. Like I can try to find things that I like. Because honestly, I know it's always the joke that like you ask a mom what she likes, and it's like I like a hot shower and a hot cup of coffee and like being able to go to the bathroom by myself. I kind of am sitting here trying to figure out like what do I like, and it's been kind of a struggle. So my whole pivot and the whole point of everything was yes to now I kind of get to tap in and see who am I, what am I doing, but at the kind of the same aspect to where like 8 to 3 she's at school during this time I get to figure out who I am. But as soon as she comes home, like knowing I can just turn on mom mode again, but maybe this time a little bit more secure or changing with her. Because I mean, no matter what, a teenager is going to be changing. And this might be the same part where like she's going through the whole puberty teenage stage, and like maybe I can
mom
have my
is
own
too.
like
Mom's
glow up
going through her stage too. Like, I love
yeah.
that for you guys, though. I love that for you because I think that, it, you deserve that, right? Like, I mean, you deserve that. And I think that it's very inspiring for me to hear you say that, like I deserve to find who I am, because like you said, like you ask a mom and it's like, people ask me like, what's your hobby? And I'm all, work, being a mom, watching my son play sports. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have one, because like it's like
Yeah.
you don't, right? Because it's like,
Mm-mm.
when when was I supposed to develop
Yeah.
that? Like, when was I supposed to find that?
It's like
But
I
then
tried to set time aside to find a hobby and I fell asleep. So like
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I sat down ready, and the next thing I know, I woke up. No, exactly. Right? Because it's like, but you are finding yourself in a space to finally have some time to say, what is Tabby like? Like, what does Tabby want to do? What's next
yeah.
for Tabby? And I ask that because that is my next question. Like, what's next for Tabby, right? Like, because if you could paint this picture and write the story, where would you be in a year or two from now?
Oh, and again, this is like, I swear, after that interview, you like set this whole wheels turning. It's like they started functioning at full gear. um,
Yay!
I mean, I've always wanted to own a business. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do. I want to transition this into something that can be a community to help parents, to help moms, to help people that are just in not only my shoes, but maybe kiddos with other disabilities. Like I have family members and their kiddos have disabilities too. And it gets really hard to kind of differentiate where the line goes between you and them. And it's always like the two names pushed together because you're just used to that portion. And I would like to, I mean, like, I'm really into social media. I'm really into filming and editing, and I love that whole aspect. So I'm learning a lot about that. I'm continuing just kind of following that passion and really just trying to turn this into something lucrative to where I can reach out and just support other parents that are like me. I don't at any means feel like I'm at like the end of my journey or like the end goal kind of thing. I don't think there is an end goal in this. If your kid is I always tease Leanie and I always tell her my end goal is always at the end of my life knowing you went to therapy and I was not the main topic. Like that's my goal.
Okay, let's be real. I think that's everyone's goal. Every good parent's goal is like, you didn't need therapy because of me. Okay, you might need therapy, but if it is not because of me, I did good.
Yes, it's like if I'm the topic 25% of the time, I did my job. But I know it's not going to be a full zero. I got to have a little bit in me. But at least I'm not like if I'm not over 30, I'm good.
Right? I'm trying to get those low percentages. Low percentages. No,
Yeah.
so true. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
So that would be the main thing.
I love
Just to
that.
help others like me.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And that is why, you were selected as a winner because I feel like, yeah, and you said something, and somebody told me this one time. He told me you don't have to, that's what the problem is that a lot of people don't tell their story because they're waiting for the end of their story. And their
Hmm.
story is continuous. Like you should be writing your story as it's going because then when you are done, you have collectively your whole story. Like you're going to tell your story different now than you would at
Yeah.
the end of your story, right? Or it's going to resonate with who it needs to now, and it's going to be what it is supposed to be now, and it's going to you should not wait till the end of your story to share your story. Like we should be sharing our experiences. We should be talking about it. We should be highlighting it because what you're living now, someone else is living now. Or what I did live through and I choose to share, someone's living through that today and it can resonate
Yeah.
today.
And that's the main thing. Like I heard the other day, I was listening to a podcast actually, and um there was somebody, they said something, and it was something along don't be selfish with your journey because then you're holding back from other people healing too. And I was like, holy crap. So like I want to show now that I'm at the beginning, like, okay, I'm just as confused as hell as anybody else that's going through this, but I'm gonna do something and I'm not gonna be one to say like, oh, this is the only way to do it. I'm gonna be like, okay, this is what helped me, maybe it'll help you too.
Yeah.
And try to show everything. Yes, the mess, the days that some days I have a hard day and I don't get any of my goals done, or she has a hard day and I had a whole plan done, but I know I'm going to have to copy and paste that onto another day because I need to switch on mom mode again. And that it's okay, and just kind of the juggle of the back and forth that one, every parent has to do, but yes, someone with a special needs kid does need to do in a different aspect. And there are some days that it's like, the end of the week and I'm like, I didn't get shit done that I wanted to
Like,
do.
I
But
copied
hey,
and pasted 10 times this week, and there was only 5 days in the week. I don't know.
exactly, exactly, and that's okay. And that sometimes we have to just like, I always tell her like, you need to be patient with yourself. But the more that I'm like tapping into this and kind of figuring it out, I'm like, well, I need to be patient with myself
Oh,
too.
practicing what you preach. Man,
Yeah.
I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens.
Right.
Well, as we
So
start
it's
to wrap
definitely
this
that
up,
aspect.
Yeah, as we start to wrap this up, Miss Tabby, I would love for you to share one thing that a mama that's watching right now that has a child with individualized needs, whether that be autism or whatever that is, if you could share one message with that mama, what would it be?
Ooh, and I think I'm gonna get emotional now. Um, what would it be? Just that you're not alone. You just have to find the right people, and we're out here, and it's okay to ask.
That part.
Yeah.
You're not failing your baby when you don't know what the hell you're doing. Right.
Or what to ask, or how to ask
Yeah.
for help, or what you need help with. It's
Yeah.
just because there's sometimes it's like I need help, and it's like with what, and you're like I don't know. Like she's having a bad time, and I
That. Look
don't
at
know what. Yeah,
that.
this.
That. I love
And
that.
then
I
it's
love
like we got it under control. Don't make a noise. Don't do anything. Just
yes.
I need help with
No
what right
sudden movement, people. No sudden
now.
movement. No, I love that. I love that. And I I want to, kind of when we're wrapping this up, I just want to thank you so much because I think that it's hard for women to share their stories. It's hard for moms to share their stories, but I think it's even more courageous of you to highlight the need to be so inclusive and share your stories around parenting children with individualized needs and and being able to say we all don't know what the hell to do sometimes.
Yeah, that we're all figuring this out. We're just as confused and messed up as the next parent, and
Yeah.
we we just got to take it one day at a time and be
Yeah.
patient with ourselves.
Well, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And again, congratulations, because I cannot wait
Thank
to
you.
follow and see and hear and just watch you grow this amazing community that I know you're going to grow for all these amazing babies and these amazing mamas that are doing the amazing things with these amazing babies. And you do it for the babies, right? It just,
Yes, we do.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Miss Tabby, for joining us. And again,
Thank
congratulations.
you. Thank you.
And
Thank you
thank,
for believing in me.
of course, like I said, you inspire the hell out of me. I love it. I can't wait to watch. And I don't mean that disingenuine. Like
Thank you.
I can't wait to watch what happens next for you.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you. Thank all of you for watching and tuning in. And yes, thank you guys so much. And like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you next time.